Hey, what is up everybody, and welcome back to a brand new video. I'm Evan or PME, and in this video we are going to be reviewing Ultraman Rising. This is a film that I was really excited about for a very long time, and it just came out a couple days ago, and I haven't had the chance to talk about it, which I've been dying to, so let's get into it, shall we? Starting off with its story. Its story I love for so many reasons. But the main basis of the story is we have our main character, Ken Sato, who has to come back to his home, Japan, to fulfill a legacy and take on the role as Japan's sole protector as Ultraman, since his father, the original Ultraman, is getting a bit older and can no longer, be the protector that Japan needs. So his son has to come back and leave his life behind in LA, playing for the LA Dodgers. He was a very big baseball player and stuff like that in this world. But at the same time, it's also very interesting because what I like so much about the story of this film is at the center of it, there's so many different themes. There's a lot of different themes this movie has, but one of its biggest is balance. Is having to find a balance between your lives. And this is something that, honestly, I can play into any superhero, really. The whole idea of secret identity, the whole idea of trying to find that balance of double lives. Peter Parker, Spider-Man, for instance, Clark Kent, Superman, Batman, Bruce Wayne kind of thing. There is a part of that where our main character, Ken Sato, has to kind of work a balance with being Japan's protector, but at the same time trying to be this hotshot baseball player, since he's now back in Japan on the Japanese team now, which is also a pretty big part of the movie. But what I like a lot about Ken Sato's character in this movie, which I'll get into a little bit more, is just how much he grows, how much in the story of this film he progresses and he changes, which is honestly a really beautiful thing. But honestly, I kind of guessed the plot of this in my Ultraman Rising trailer reaction, where I basically said, the trailer kind of gave a basis of the plot, and I kind of pieced it together, which was like, Ultraman's there. Oh, there's a egg, there's a baby. Some people want the baby for a certain reason, which I won't spoil what the reasoning behind that was, but I kind of guessed it. And then hijinks ensue and stuff like that. But there's so much more to this movie. This movie, I think, is very much what Spider-Verse was for Spider-Man fans. This is essentially the equivalent of that for Ultraman fans. Now, I have to say, going into this, my knowledge of Ultraman is at a very base level. At a very, tiny level. I know the characters, I know kind of a very tiny bit of the basic lore and stuff like that, because growing up with Asian heritage, I had always kind of seen Ultraman. As a kid, I always saw, the knockoff bootleg masks and toys and stuff like that growing up, when I would go to the markets or anything like that, when I'd go visit family. But I never got into Ultraman. I always knew of him. I was always kind of fascinated because I love Kaiju. I love Godzilla. I love Pacific Rim. I love the idea of Kaiju, Power Rangers, everything like that. I love all of that kind of stuff. So when I initially saw the first trailer for this film, I was so excited because it looked so interesting and so unique. And also, it was coming from ILM. ILM, Industrial Light Magic, is probably one of the biggest powerhouses for visual effects and animation ever, and they've created some beautiful stuff. They have also an upcoming film, Transformers 1, which I'm very excited about, which will be their next film, basically. But I really do think this film is going to bring so many new people into the Ultraman franchise, because after I finished this movie, I wanted to know more. And honestly, I've already slowly started to put a list down and a lineup of all of the Ultraman films and Ultraman adaptations, stuff like that, so I can start to learn more about this franchise, because it is so interesting and so unique, and there's definitely a lot of references and different details and stuff like that within Ultraman Rising that obviously I didn't pick up on because, again, I have such a small basis of the lore. But this film is really beautiful. So, moving on to the characters. We're going to wind back to the whole thing with Ken Sato. Christopher Sean who plays Ken Sato, the English voice for Ken Sato, is really great. He did such a fantastic job, and I loved Ken Sato's character for many, many reasons, because not only is he the main character of this film, but he also progresses and grows and changes over the course of this movie from being this like hotshot baseball player that doesn't want anything to do with being Ultraman. He resents his father, and he doesn't want to be Ultraman. He doesn't want that. He just wants to be the baseball player, all that kind of stuff. But so trying to find that balance again, he's having to play around with that dichotomy of that balance. But obviously then some hijinks ensue, and the cutest little baby gets thrust upon him, and we meet Emi. Emi is probably one of the cutest characters I've ever seen in any kind of media. Like, move aside Grogu, move aside Bebo, like, whatever, you know, like, just, honestly, I loved Emi so much for so many reasons, and I think what made Emi so great, and what made her feel almost tangible in a way, is how ILM, I'm pretty sure ILM's team and everything like that really studied like small kids and babies and stuff like that to kind of get the physiology down, to make her almost feel like she really is like a little baby, a little toddler, a kid kind of thing. And I felt for her so much in this movie because she's so young and she's just experiencing everything for the first time in this brand new world. And there was a certain scene like halfway through the movie where I literally was like on the edge of my seat, worried about this fictional baby kaiju, and I felt so much for her as the course of this movie went on, as if I myself were a parent to this kaiju. You know what I mean? Like, they did such a fantastic job. Director Shannon Tyndall did such a great job of showcasing that, which I should also add, he had done a Q&A kind of thing on Twitter, I think a week or two ago, and I had asked him a question, and it was basically along the lines of, if there was anything you could add, if there was anything that you took from your own real life experiences that you had added to the story of Ultraman Rising, is there anything? To which he had said to me his experiences of being a first-time dad. Now, after I watched Ultraman Rising, I could 100% see that. There was so much love, so much care that was put into creating this relationship of Ken and Emi, of this father and daughter kind of relationship in a way, even though it's a human and a baby kaiju. But you felt that Ken was growing not only as a person, but he was kind of almost becoming a father, because he cared about this little baby kaiju and just wanted her to live a good life. And she was just such a, like, I could make a 10-minute rant just on Emi, honestly, because she's the most adorable thing ever. But we will continue. So then we get to Emiko Sato / Mina, played by Tomlin Tomita. Love her. I loved her in a lot of shows and movies and stuff like that growing up. So I was surprised when I saw in the credits that she played both Emiko Sato and Mina. Emiko Sato being the mother of Ken Sato, who's not there for a long period of the time in this movie, which there are reasons to that I won't spoil for those that haven't watched. But she is a really interesting character who has such a good sense of life, of wanting to live life to the fullest. And then you have Mina, who is a kind of like AI droid kind of thing that was created by Ken's father, and I believe Emiko as well, and they kind of created her together. And honestly, her playing both parts was so interesting, and I loved her a lot. She did such a great job in the role, and I kind of hope we get to see more of her, praying that this film gets a sequel. Moving on to Dedi Watanabe, I hope I pronounced that right, who plays Professor Sato, aka also Ultradad, who is the original Ultraman. I loved him a lot. I really did. He was such an interesting character because not only is he Ultraman and Ken's father, the way they play his character of not just being this protector, this superhero of Japan, he was also, as his title is, like, he's a professor, but he also cares about the kaiju, he cares about them as creatures, and there's a lot there to unpack with his character of guilt and certain things and stuff like that between him and Ken that are unresolved that kind of get resolved towards the end of the movie. But I like this character a lot, and what I loved so much about Getty Watanabe is watching interviews before this film had released, he kind of dressed up in the same attire that Professor Sato wears in the movie, which I thought was really cute, and I thought that was like such a fun little detail that he didn't have to do, but he did, and I enjoyed that a lot. Then we move on to Julia Harriman, who plays Ami. I loved her a lot. She's such an interesting character because she plays a reporter. She plays a reporter type of role who's trying to understand who Ken Sato is in a way, and trying to almost figure out what's different about him. Why is there this change? Why would he drop his life in LA to come all the way back to Japan and stuff like that? Like, it doesn't make sense, and she wants to find out, kind of like a Lois Lane type of thing. Like, she wants to know the truth. Which I liked a lot, and there's a specific scene in the movie where Ken is kind of like almost at wit's end trying to figure out this whole parent thing, and he calls Ami and is basically like asking her like how do you do it? How do you juggle your job? How do you juggle your kid? And it was such a touching scene because even though I'm not a parent and I'm only 21, I could totally look at that scene almost through the lenses of my parents, and how much, and it was and it was like kind of an emotional moment, really, that you really look at that and how much a kid can really affect your life if you're not prepared. But at the same time, it's just so interesting because if you see it through your parents' eyes versus the child's eyes, and it was such a beautiful scene. Like, I'm not the best to like fully describe it, but you kind of just have to see it for yourself. But it's a beautiful, beautiful scene. It was very well written. It was very well animated, and I loved it a lot. That is another thing I will mention. I think I got very emotional, teary-eyed, and like actually cried about 3 to 4 times in this movie. I'm a pretty emotional person when it comes to movies, but this one got me. I'm surprised that this movie and Godzilla Minus One are the 2 kaiju movies I have seen that have brought me to actual tears just because of emotional moments that take place in these films. But honestly, this film is honestly a very big surprise. I knew this movie was going to be great because the animation looked fantastic from the get-go. It has an amazing voice cast to it and an amazing director. And there's some really cool Easter eggs in this movie, too, that if you catch them and you're a big kaiju fan or a Power Rangers fan or even a fan of Lost Ollie, you might catch them. But this film is beautiful. It's beautiful for so many reasons because as I watched it, I could feel how much love, how much care was put into making this project the best it could possibly be for many reasons, not just because of making a movie great, but also because not only is this honoring the legacy of Ultraman and creating a brand new legacy and a brand new era and story for a brand new generation to step into this world of this character that's been around for so long, but also at the same time how much love and care was put into it from the team that created it. Like I said about the director Shannon Tyndall, how he took experiences from his experience of being a first-time dad into the movie, which is such a beautiful thing. And I love that this movie came out like right before Father's Day, even though this video itself is coming out after Father's Day. I think it was the perfect movie to release right around Father's Day for so many families to sit down together and watch and experience, because I gotta say, I loved this movie so much. I am going to be watching it a couple more times with my siblings and whoever I can get to watch it with me, because not only is the animation spectacular, the story is spectacular, the characters are all likable, and they all have their own kind of little arcs that they're going through. Even the villain, sure, he is an antagonist and you understand why he's doing what he's doing, even though it's not right. You can understand from his perspective as to why he feels he needs to do it. And I liked that he wasn't this person that was just straight out to destroy life. He had a reason and a guilt, and there was a lot of stuff there's a lot of baggage to it. But this film is so good. I could ramble on and on, but I won't ramble on and on about this movie. But all I can say is please, please go watch Ultraman Rising on Netflix right now, because it is slowly jumping in that top 10. It's been chilling in that top 10 for the past couple days. And honestly, after the way this movie ends, I would love for this to be able to get a trilogy. I would love for Shannon Tyndall and everybody to come back to do a second movie and possibly a third movie. And if Netflix is really up to it and wants to put the money into it, please make an animated series, weekly kind of thing, because this universe is so interesting. It's so beautifully animated. The character designs, the animation style, like I could go on and on. But that is really all I gotta say on this movie. It's a beautiful film. You should check it out. So please go check out Ultraman Rising if you haven't already. And if you have, let me know in the comments below if you've watched it and if you enjoyed it or not. And if you would like to read more of my thoughts on Ultraman Rising, you can check out my Letterboxd review in the link in the bio. I'll have it down there. It'll show up on a card or something here. But anyways, guys, be sure to hit that like button if you haven't already. Hit the subscribe button and turn on those post notifications so you never miss out on another great video like this one. I'll have a lot more coming soon. But this has been Portal Master Evan. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out. Bye.